Okay, everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy. Carrie, you need one of those TrueCars on yours, baby, all right? Okay, and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And folks, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is the Walking Dead, the automotive vendor version, okay, or edition. And I've got an elite panel of subject matter experts. We've got Carrie Wise, VP of TrueCar. She's one of their thought leaders. Scott Peckstein, the VP of Sales of Digital Airstrike. We have Bob Harwood, Vice President, and one of the major think tankers over there at Interactive Financial Marketing Group. And representing the dealer side of things, we have Jason Caliri, who's the Marketing Director of a 10 Rooftop Vision Auto Group. Then we've got Josh Leader, who's the Internet Director of the Sands Auto Group in Surprise, Arizona. He's a centralized department. They sell 200 units a month online. And also he's leaders in marketing. He's a leader in the marketing industry. And so we got our amazing panel here. And so we also have Cory Mosley. I don't know if he jumped on yet. I don't see him on here, but Cory, if you're there, just jump on and let me know that you're there, okay? Not there. Then we have L.A. Williams. We've got Karen Bradley from my side. Karen at L.A., are you guys there? Can you hear me, guys? Karen's waiting on the link and LA's waiting on the link. So they'll join us. So what I want to do is I want to just jump into this and I want to go straight into what this is about. I want to set the expectation. So if you guys can take notes on this for the vendors, especially, this is very important because I believe that obviously we're in very difficult times and there's multiple issues here, but this is specifically on the vendor partners. Some of them, you know, as you guys know, are not pulling their weight. They're not providing value to these dealers. They're not turning around and providing the ROI for their products and services, etc. And so we need you guys to, throughout this webinar, to be able to talk about what are you guys doing with your companies, first of all, which are huge companies nationally, with combined tens of thousands of dealers on your guys' programs. But then also, how can we help and empower these dealers that are listening to the live stream and it's on this webinar? How could they audit and get the most out of their vendors, and if they're not, what they can do about it? Okay, so I want to start with the dealer side of things because this is pretty serious. So Jason, you've got 10 stores, 10 rooftops in New York, and in multiple manufacturers. What are your manufacturers? Let's start there.
Hyundai, Nissan, Kia, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, and Buick GMC.
Okay, and so do you agree with the whole concept of this webinar that dealers need to get really control of their vendors, and the ones that are like not providing anything, cut the fat there?
Absolutely.
All right, so give me some things that you're going through right now as a director of marketing for 10 stores. What type of panic mode are you guys in with, as far as with marketing? You told me a story the other day that you lost a couple of your major influencers because of random things. Share us what's going on with your climate.
Sure. So in my world, with marketing and 10 rooftops, I've got 10 different ad budgets. So I've got everything from traditional advertising to digital advertising to third-party vendors to lead sources, all the way in and out, between OEM mandated programs and then the vendors that we sign up with and we trust our business with. So if you're looking at the traditional side, when you have a group the size with a budget the size that we do, some of the things that you've got to look at on the influencer side or on, the staffing side is when an emergency happens like this, the last one I can remember was 9/11.
Right.
Went to a bare bones media staff in the office and on the air. So if I have afternoon personalities that are endorsers and influencers for my brands, I have to immediately find out from them what is happening with my brand, with my live spots, and with my live reads. Who's going to do them? When are they going to run? Are they going to run? And are they going to get bumped? And I'm just going to lose out money-wise. I mean, if you're looking at for one rooftop and $300-400 a week, obviously do make good schedules for you. The radio stations and groups are really good about that. But when you're talking 10 separate rooftops, 10 separate budgets, you're in tens of thousands of dollars a week with just one media. So that is a red flag immediately. Then when the stations go into emergency mode, the only people allowed in the door, they send everybody in the office home. Everybody works from home except for 5 people per radio group. So that's morning show, that's engineer, that's program director, and then there's 2 floaters in case of an emergency. So if any of those don't influence my stations or my group, my rooftops, what happens to all my live reads? What happens to my traffic? There has to be a plan in place. Having 10 rooftops, you've got 12 endorsers. That's a big schedule that you just have to figure out within hours for just radio. So in the past 3 days, I've lived it. We had to cut $370,000 out of an advertising budget. And we had to allocate it in other places. For a 10-store group, that's a lot of money.
Absolutely. Amen. Ellie Williams just joined us. Karen Bradley just joined us. Folks, listen, we've got like almost 60 people that are live streaming right now in the group, and everybody's going to watch this on reruns. What we're doing right now is we're hearing from a marketing director of 10 rooftops about what's going on with the reality. If you guys have questions, if you're on the webinar portion of it, please go in the chat, start typing out the questions. Our team is going to be answering them both print and verbally wise. If you're in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, ask your questions right down below in the suggestion area. Just, and if you like what you're hearing, comment on what you're hearing and give some acknowledgement, because again, there's a lot of people on here, like the best people in the country are on this webinar right now to help you from all aspects of the dealership level, from consultants to trainers to high-level dealer groups to publicly traded companies. So again, we need to know what your interest level is, what your pain levels are, and use the comment feature and the chat feature to be able to articulate to us what's important to you. So now, before the vendors respond, I wanted to hear from Josh Leader. Again, Josh, you're on the West Coast, where Jason's on the East Coast. I strategically picked you guys for those reasons. And Josh, with your 21 plus years automotive experience, GSM level caliber stuff, how is this affecting you? And most importantly, what is your perspective of your vendors, your online classifieds, your third-party providers, your digital marketing people during this volatile climate?
First of all, thanks, Sean, Millionaire Car Salesman Group, for getting this wealth of knowledge on here to just help everybody. Because whether it's struggle times or we're doing great, I think everybody involved in the business should always be trying to help people. So that's why I said, heck yeah, man, I'll jump on this. I'll take part of my day out here. So two of the three vendors on here are partners of mine. And the third one, actually, Bob, by the way, Carissa Cobell or something like that, she's been attacking me. I said, hey, I know Bob, I'll get with you. So
you did mention that.
Potentially a third partner there. But so, if I do business with you, you got to do business with me. So, and that's my philosophy when I look at third-party vendors, because if they care enough to partner up, you got to be a partner and care at the end result. And that's, for me, is car deals. Jason, Caliri out there in New York, holy smokes, what do they pay you, like $1 million a year? All those rooftops? If not, they should be, brother.
Yeah, if they did, I'd have a background like texting right now. I like to say I'm boots on the ground, because I'll go out and close deals still, because that's just the best part of the car business. But that being said, I am, with my ownership, we do look at the marketing from 10,000 feet and figure out, hey, is this working? Is this not working? What are we doing that's innovative? What are we doing to move that bar? Me personally, the reason I use my certain vendors is because their ROI can be tracked, and they kind of have the same philosophy as myself as far as retaining customers. I'm not a huge fan of just listing stuff out there, race to the bottom, whatever you want to call it, and having people tricked into pricing or whatever like that. So I genuinely want people to know who they're doing business with and why they're doing business with. So it's very important as dealers to know who your vendors are and what their business model is, and how well they serve you. And the great thing about my partners is there's open line of communication with the people who make decisions. So it's just not the new hire that's coming through all the time. I can pick up the phone and call who can make a change right away. So that's very important to me. Sometimes it's just the bet. Sometimes it's the brainstorm coming up with ideas. Digital Airstrike, kudos to them. They're throwing out some free video retailing programs. Stuff like that. That's important to me as a dealership. And as what we're doing right now in this current state, for you dealers out there, we want everybody that's employed with us to make a living still.
Who knows what's going to happen down the road? But for right now, we can't have a knee-jerk reaction. We got to go business as usual, keep people on board. We're kind of spreading out the shifts, so not as many people are at the dealership, and we're doing a kind of a straight sell, meet to greet to the box sale, so customers don't have to go through multiple hands. We have separate workstations for everybody. Sanitary products everywhere. So, and if a customer wants gloves, what have you, it's there for them. Last but not least, we are doing steam sanitation free for anybody. We'll pick up cars, bring them to us. I mean, you got to do the extra things right now. And what's nice is once you start doing that, you're going to continue doing it because that's how business works. So thanks again. I'm just excited to be here. I did release a couple of vendors recently. Shame on Car Gurus, see you later. Carfax, a listing service. We pull Carfaxes, but at the end of the day, what I noticed was these customers, these cars that we're selling, I mean, they're not hard to sell. How many dealerships have trouble selling cars that are under $10,000? How many, dealers have trouble selling cars that are way under book? It's just not an issue. So
I want dealers to, if that's you, type down there, type right in the area below, type right there, me too. Like we have that same problem. We have the same issues. We do this, we do that. Let me just jump in, Josh, because I want to unleash my panel in a second, but this is my last transition statement is this. The reason why this is happening, if you guys know or don't know, but a week ago, I have a dealer group in the Northeast region of the United States. Buick GMC is where my daughter works at, and then it's also, they have a Chevy store, and they actually have a third store they just bought. So it's a 3 rooftop serious dealer group in Pennsylvania. And when I was doing a forensic audit before the coronavirus kind of kicked off, we identified that their vendor, which is CDK, was, again, they were just paying a ton of money and getting very little ROI. To be specific, what we identified is that like the Chevy store was spent, and we live streamed this, so this is not proprietary information. We shared this about a week ago, that the Chevy store was spending $13,400 to get like 100 leads between everything. It was insane, or 57 leads or whatever it was just crazy. And so here's my statement before I unleash the panel is, I firmly believe as a national trainer consultant, because I do this every day for 16 years I've owned the company, 21 years I've been in the business, that so many dealers used to, before a week ago, and after 9/11 crisis, what they would do is they know damn well they're not using their CRM properly, or it's not set up properly. They know damn well they're burning through leads that they buy from TrueCar or Cars Direct or Interactive Financial. They know damn well that they're doing all this PPC and social media, and it's not ROI. And they know it directly, or they got a feeling in their soul. But because they're selling cars and they're making money, it's like, fuck it, I don't have time to deal with this right now. Or you know what, I don't want to deal with the bullshit. The vendor's going to come in and dazzle me with vapor stuff, and we're going to have nothing. And so it wasn't a crisis before, so it was okay to have a little extra fat on that meat bone, so to speak. But the reason why I did this is that shit is not going to happen. Like right now, it's getting very serious for some dealers, and it's already at the point where there's huge dealerships that are shut down indefinitely right now. There is no curfew. There's 24-hour lockdown. They're in quarantine in San Francisco, in Orange County, California. Tuscan Toyota. We have a guy. It's a member of this group. He's a moderator. It's Cody Carter, he sold 133 Toyotas. He's number 2 Toyota salesperson in the world, and the Cory Mosley in the house. Thank you, Cory. And he shut down. So the problem with that is, oh man, I'm not making the money that I was before selling out of cars, so I can't afford to have shit that's not sterile or put together. So I want to make sure that all these vendors are doing something to help out. So we're going to open up first to digital airstrike. The reason being is because I was really kind of surprised what Alexi, who's the CEO of the company, was doing before most companies even had it on their radar. So Scott, I want to turn it over to you, and I want you to just kind of share, first, what is digital airstrike doing to help these dealers, and also do you agree with what I'm saying about fat on the bone and trimming your steak out?
I do. I want to start off by making some comments on Jason and Josh's comments. Jason hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's no blanket statement. There's no magic answer. The things that Jason does in New York are going to be different than the things Tuscan Toyota does, right? Tuscan Toyota, sales is closed in Orange County. There's different rules out here. They may be making a hard look at their leads. since there's nobody there to respond to their leads. Jason, obviously a much different story. I got off the phone with a client of yours, Sean, just a few hours ago, right around the corner from you. They have people in the showroom, they're selling cars. Other folks have their service closed. So again, there's no magic bullet. It needs a little different as far as what we need to do in reaction to everything that's going on. As far as the company, you know, Sean, there's an old saying, and you and I talked late last night, if you don't mind my sharing with the group. I used to do a phone at midnight East Coast time.
Yes.
And we were talking about, you know, good times create bad habits. Bad times create great habits. And we saw that in 2008. We saw that in the dot-com bubble in 2000. We saw that on 9/11, 2001. And I think, Jason, again, you're taking a hard look at your vendors. Josh, I'm going to challenge what you said. You mentioned vendors and partners in the same sentence. They shouldn't be. You either have vendors or you have partners. They're not one and the same. So, you know, a true partner is going to pivot. And that's exactly what Alexi did. Alexi's got a lot of experience. She's the founder of Digital Airstrike. She started the company in a recession. So we pivoted. We pivoted last week, and we wanted to help our partners out there. Wanted to help our dealers. So what we did specifically, Sean, is we know the manner in which dealers now communicate with their consumers has changed overnight. Now, in my opinion, it's been a sweep over the last decade. This is just going to catapult us to the 22nd century, in my opinion, because people don't want to come into the dealership. People aren't shaking hands, but you can still have that face-to-face communication, no different than we're having right now. So having said that, we've got a solution that we rolled out to all of our dealers absolutely free, and it's a retailing solution, a video retailing solution that literally moves the relationship, which is still the most important aspect of the sale or the service. It moves it physically from the dealership to online. And you know, now's the time to be on your toes, not your heels. And a lot of people are putting their head in the sand and wait for this to pass over, and it will pass. But the people that are creating the good habits now, and the people that are on their toes, the people that will be working this weekend, the people that will be on the phone at midnight strategizing how they can get ahead, might not necessarily get ahead this week, this month, but come June, I guarantee you, they're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of the competition.
Absolutely strong. So can you just go over, before I go to Cory, can you share one of the things that you guys are doing? I'm going to, give me this, I'm going to share the screen really quick, because I got to just tell you, I was really impressed with how fast you guys, you know, pivoted on a dime. You and Dave Veneri, you guys created a landing page right here. So I'm going to post this in the group, like right here, like in this live stream right here. So everybody's got this right now. I'm just posting that link, and this is this right here. This is actually a landing page that you guys created specifically for Dealer Synergy clients and the Millionaire Car Salesman members. You know, you basically have what Digital Airstrike is doing, because there's a lot of information, but anybody that's in our group could just go to this landing page and kind of see this right here. Can you talk about this free digital retailing for DAS clients, you know, which there's a ton that you guys have, thousands of stores out there. What does this do, and how could this help during the crisis?
Yeah, there are. So we've got a little over 5,000 clients, and needless to say, some are on this webinar. We've reached out to most already. Again, we started last week, so we've been working around the clock over the weekend to again, be a true partner and allow dealers to communicate with consumers in the manner they prefer, which is now obviously not in person, right? And video is obviously the way to go. So having said that, specifically what it is, Sean, if you take a look at the screen, I know it's small print. It's basically a platform that allows dealers to engage via video. So it's got bulk email capabilities, so you can film a video that goes out to anybody and everybody that you're trying to reach, maybe in your CRM. It could be one-on-one. You get obviously real-time notifications, read notifications, and it even allows the consumer to video back. So it's picking up where you left off physically with these consumers. And again, it's just it's a virtual experience. So that's absolutely free of charge. We've got a few different packages. Our top package will literally deliver a lighting kit and a green screen to your dealership or to your home. But the standard package, so everybody can participate, is up to a number of users. I believe it's 3 users. You can send up to 2,500 videos out of this platform at once, as far as a batch upload to communicate with everybody in your CRM. And, you know, we even went a little bit above and beyond. This was Alexi's idea, and it was pretty nimble, I must say. Over the weekend, she said, let's put our money where our mouth is. The biggest challenge with a lot of these products is utilization. And in order to get folks excited and try to have a little fun with this, every week we have the best video contest. So the dealers send us their video, what their top video of the week is, and we'll vote on it. And every Friday we'll announce a $500 winner, just to kind of make it fun. And to end, Sean, we're practicing what we're preaching. You know, I'm on video all day long. It's how we're communicating with our clients right now as well. And it's going over. It's extremely well received.
Okay, so I'm gonna like to your word, pivot right here to Cory Mosley. So Cory, thank you for being able to join us. You are in, but also now getting really, really big outside the automotive industry as a, you know, business growth catalyst. You've been asked by, like, you know, different news agencies like in Virginia to go on broadcast television and kind of give your insight. So I want to preface again, the question is this: right now, dealerships and automotive professionals, individual salespeople, managers, service people, etc., they are distressed. And so I think now's the time to be very, very careful of who you partner with, who you do business with, your products, your services, your technology, because again, there's quite honestly some companies out there that are not providing value and it's not benefiting the dealer. So I have a 2-point question. One is, what advice do you have for dealers, you know, to be, you know, resilient through this time? And then also, how can dealers really, you know, hold their vendors accountable and get what they're supposedly paying for and what they really need?
Well, so I think a couple things. First, let me just say, I sent you this message privately. I just commend tremendously your fervor in getting this information and being out there, you know, pretty much on a daily, almost real-time basis, providing resources. I've passed along resources that you provide. So I think it's a fantastic thing that you're doing and bringing collectively this group of people together, number one. Number two, yeah, I mean, my week has been in between business owners of all kind and my car dealer clientele and dealers that I've had long-term relationships with that I work with in the consulting capacity. So, you know, we're all dealing with it, and really there's two phases of this, right? There's the business, there's the operational aspect of running your business itself that a dealer has to deal with, and then it's how do I now communicate with my consumers? So to your point on the vendor side, you know, there's a couple things. I had a conversation with a dealer right before I came on this, and my question to him was, who have you heard from? Who have we not heard from? Right? As we look at our vendor list, which usually you can figure that out by looking at the dealership's P&L, looking at the dealership's accounting statement on who the vendors are, right? Who are we paying? So who have we heard from? Who have we not heard from? And that obviously speaks volumes. As we start to see different communications come out, I think you've been sharing them relative to vendors who are discounting services and discounting. So let's be transparent on that. That is partially from the business end. We want to control people canceling products and services at this time. And number two, we do want to help or provide creative solutions. So my kind of marching order is visible equals valuable. So visible will equal valuable if you are a vendor communicating with dealers. Visible will equal valuable if you are a dealer that needs to communicate with their customers. And that messaging is also going to be very, very important. How we're using words, what we're saying to our customers. And then one thing, and I'm perfectly prepared to be wrong on this, but one thing that I will say is the digital revolution or the impact of that at its base level. Let's not forget, pickup and delivery is great. Taking a vehicle to a customer's car is great. But if we don't remove fear from the equation, and 0% is great and no interest, but if we don't remove fear from the equation for the customer first, all you're doing is telling me that, great, you're going to come pick up my car and Earl's going to drive his car coughing all the way in my car and bring the Corona to me, right? So we have to be cognizant where we go, all right, this is a great opportunity to go digital, and we're going to just take cars, we're going to get a fleet of drivers and start delivering cars, and if one more person uses the word Carvana to me, my head's going to explode today. But let's just be cognizant of that. So that vendor equation, I want vendors who are innovators, right? The people that have popped on here are always innovating. I mean, I know everybody that's on this call today from the vendor side. And if you think back to the last 90 days, 6 months, NADA, all those periods, there's new products, there's new services, there's innovation that happens. And everybody on here really is focused on being at the forefront of that and being a partner. If you haven't heard from your vendor in a various capacity through this process, I think that speaks volumes in itself, Sean.
Very strong, Cory. I appreciate it. Karen or LA, before I go to the next, vendor partner here, Karen, can you unmute? Okay, what would you like? I want you to kind of add, because we just had some fire come from Scott, Jason, Josh, and Cory already. So, but I want to be able, on a moderator side, kind of moderate the information and just give some of your thoughts.
Right. So, obviously I agree with everything that everyone's already said on here. As consultants, a lot of times we see that dealers like to just try things and kind of throw things against the wall to see what sticks. So Sean and I thought that it was very important to kind of get people thinking that now is the time. I mean, think about it. Look at all the layoffs that are happening already. So instead of laying off some people, your most important asset, in my opinion, just really start to look at your expenses and fine tune them. Some dealers don't even understand what they're spending on, and we can't afford to do that right now.
No, Karen, that's so strong because, and I don't know if it was Scott, if it was us or Dave or somebody, but I remember one of you guys that we were speaking to, and it might even been Cory. I don't remember. I'm sorry. If whoever it was, jump up and say it was me, said something like, wow, it's only been a couple weeks of this shit. And if dealers are laying off people, that's a problem. How do you not have enough capital? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's in reserve right now that you can sustain at least for 4, 5, 6 months if something happens. You know what I mean? It's different if you're forced to shut down, but if a dealer is already laying off people that have worked there for 18 years or 25 car people after 2 weeks, like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's different if you already have cut the fat and there's nowhere else to go and you can't afford to pay your people. It is what it is. But if you still have that fat that you don't understand what you're spending your money on, or it's, maybe useless in some ways, then, and you're cutting your people, then to me, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
Well, oh, good.
What's happening, Cory? Hey, listen, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. And my background in money and finance is the biggest deals. See, one of the biggest challenges, 96% of the airlines, 96% of their revenue, they actually turned over to their owners. They didn't put anything in savings, and so now they're begging for a government buyout. Same situation with Boeing. Boeing is doing the same thing, and so we don't want dealers in that situation. So this is a big reason why we're saying, hey, cut the fat in other places, right? You want to cut the fat in places where your customers won't be able to tell. Shep Hyken said that last night. Don't go cutting into places when the customers will know you cutting off your training company, and then your people are messing stuff up and they talking to people any old kind of way. That type of stuff cannot happen. And so these are some serious conversations that we're having. I'm glad you're sharing it with all of this.
Oh, that's a good point too. Training and education, that's the first spot a lot of dealers take a look at. And unfortunately, this is when you have to be at your best. You have to be able to, get the people that are potentially willing to have you deliver a car to them, or, actually go to the dealership now and be able to provide them the absolute best service above and beyond anybody else.
Yeah. And I'll say this real quick, and we can kind of, go to the next thing. I know Cory kind of wanted to say something, but I think it is important. I love what you said about how we got to make sure that the fear is not being spread, because people are sitting at home and they're watching the news and they're getting more and more afraid, right? That's just what happens. The news benefits. They make money when people are scared, right? Because people are staring at the screen and advertisers are popping up, and it is what it is. So we got to do everything. Whenever I'm on the phone, I've been on the phone with a couple of customers today, and the conversations I'm having with them is not only what the dealership is doing, but just general stuff that will create some value for them, letting them know what's really going on. Because I think really what happens is people don't get the facts, they get what the news says. And I said it, if we paying attention to what the news say, we already in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Cory?
I was just going to say that, I had this conversation with Automotive News yesterday, and I was making the point that a lot of people are having these hindsight is 2020 moments because their reality is that they did not plan in certain areas. And I was speaking specifically to a dealer client of ours who has had a hardship plan for their employees for 10 years. So they've had a fund, just a matter of how they run their business that is contributed to by the dealer, contributed to by the employees. And anytime an employer or employee has a hardship, they can go to there's a committee and they state their case to the committee and the committee reviews it and determines to release their funds. So they have a situation where, I mean, they've had funding and funds that really don't even talk about the dealer's operating capital because they've prepared for it in a way now already, not knowing a pandemic was coming, but they have these things in place as a matter of how they run their dealership and how their culture operates. So Scott alluded to something, and I have it as a soundbite in a different way, but people don't get serious until they get desperate. So as a lot of this clarity, these moments of clarity that salespeople are having because commissions are going, they were planning, getting ready for summer and thought it was going to be a fat summer. And we're still in the car business. So we know what that means. We went and bought too much house and bought too much car and we're blinking. And a lot of those things that are just true to our business. So a lot of people didn't prepare for that. But access to capital, and I just want to be clear, because it's easy to go, man, how did you not prepare for your business or whatever? Dealerships obviously are operational based on capital, credit lines, things of that nature. So many of them, and I saw this in the communication to the minority dealers, that they have communicated with Capitol Hill on this topic of, in times like this, what happens to access to capital. Even when you're hearing 0% and things like that for the customer, access to capital, the business owners has different parameters of what these banks and how they lend to floor plan and how they lend for working lines and lines of capital. It is different. So I just want everybody to have perspective on that before, it goes too far into, well, how come this guy can't run his business? But there's something to be said for that too.
Listen, strong. Guys, I'm glad this is recorded because I'm going to chop this up. This is such powerful information. Now, I've saved my next two panelists for right now because they're online classifieds, third-party providers, lead providers, whatever you want to classify them. I have TrueCar representing new and used car opportunities. They do more than that, but then I also have Interactive Financial, which is carloan.com, that's representing special finance. I want to start with Cory Wise. I had a long, over an hour conversation with Cory the other day, and we talked a lot solely about this subject, about helping the dealer population and whatnot. So Cory, I want to first start out by a question is, what is TrueCar doing to help in this crisis response to all these dealers? So let's start with that.
So first off, I just want to, share my thoughts, my empathy right now for the auto industry across dealers, across vendors. It's a tough time, and we've seen tough times before, and we'll get through this one again. I think first and foremost, I just want to make sure that our dealers understand that our staff of client success managers are there for them. We're all working virtually, just so you know, right now, and we've been put on mandatory work from home, but they're having virtual conversations, web conferences. We're still doing training, we're still consulting and being there for our dealers. And I think that first and foremost is most important. But we are offering discounts for our dealers, particularly that are in subscription state. So just to back up, most of our dealers only pay us when a lead actually closes. We are a performance-based billing model because we believe that a lead is great, but if that lead doesn't actually result in a sale, we shouldn't be paid or rewarded for that. And so, you can understand that with COVID-19, if customers stop shopping as much, if dealers getting less leads, most of our dealers are going to see their billing drop as well because our billing is tied to them actually closing sales. But we do have dealers that are on subscription basis where they're paying a regular payment, the same payment every single month. And so for the month of April, we are cutting their bills by 50% for the month of April. So if you're in a subscription state where you're paying us, the same fee every single month, well, we want to make it a little easier on you and give you that discount.
Cory, I got to jump in. And first of all, I'm going to say this right now because people give TrueCar shit. forget about that. Carrie is one thorough ass, you know, automotive professional. She's about the dealers. She's the VP of Education and Industry Relations. And so I just want to say I vouch for Carrie. So again, I'm saying this with love because it's about to get hot right now, and I got to push back on you just for a little bit. One of your other companies that generate leads, one of the senior executives, like one of your counterparts from a different company, had said this not about TrueCar, but about any third-party provider, that some companies are doing what you're doing, but they're not counterbalancing the lower lead volume. Because follow me, to your point, if they're on a subscription base and it's a flat rate, like one of my dealers, which is Patriot, pays $2,800 for TrueCar. So now I totally respect and appreciate the 50%, but let's just say that there's a dip, then that original altruism that you're trying to do by cut that budget down really is neutralized or negated, because it's almost like, well, that's really not doing much because my leads are down there. Is there anything that TrueCar is doing? Because I think you told me that you also do digital retailing, that you're giving away some products and stuff like that. So I love the fact that you're giving a discount, but that doesn't help me if I desperately need leads or I need traffic from you. That helps me financially, but doesn't help me opportunity-wise. So what are you doing to counterbalance that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think right now, I want to bring up beyond TrueCar, you know, we're seeing dealers contract. I mean, when times get bad, oftentimes we want to freeze. We don't want to advertise as much. It's easy to want to cut budgets. And so, you know, what I would first and foremost recommend is that it's the time to dissect the ROI, to understand, not to get rid of all your vendors, but to understand the ones that are working, right? To really dissect and dig in to what's working for you, because it's easy to kind of jump on that bandwagon. We work in an industry that's so competitive. And, you know, I love this Jeff Bezos quote. He says, you know, when you're a pioneer, you're customer focused, you're not competitor focused. And we tend to work in an industry where we see other dealers doing things. We see other dealers moving all their money to SEM, for example, and SEO. And therefore, that is what every single dealer wants to do. And what I would say is that now is the time to really dig in and evaluate what's working and what's not. On the dealer you brought up, you know, we have dealers that if you're not seeing the ROI, we need to dig into what is happening. And Sean, you called me out on that particular dealer to say, we need to understand if they're not getting the ROI, which we're a performance-based company, and they're not seeing the ROI, what's happening? So are we going to look at mystery shops for that dealer? Are we going to understand their merchandising and why they're not receiving as many leads? And that's the kind of thing that we're doing with our partners. But more importantly, you mentioned—
Gary, go back to that. That's so powerful, because again, like, we're all professional colleagues, but I'm playing on one team. I'm playing on the dealer's team. So absolutely. I don't want to get this twisted. You guys all understand, like, my clients are the dealers. So I have to have sometimes difficult conversations with my peers and people like Carrie that represent, you know, a huge publicly traded company. But Carrie, let's talk about that, because that's what I think dealers are missing. And Bob, you're next on this. So I want you to think about this answer to this question right here, is that let's use that Patriot, for example, that dealership. They have 120 retail ready pre-owned vehicles in stock, but their used car lead count was like 11 or something like that. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I want to hear your answers as a TrueCar executive. One, if I am ABC Motors on TrueCar and I notice that I'm not getting enough new car leads, or if I've got like a decent, respectable amount of pre-owned inventory and I'm not getting enough leads or not enough phone calls, you know, what kind of resources, what can you guys do? You know, mystery shop is not going to help that part of it, but don't you guys do audits? And, like, for example, as a consultant, my first thing is, if I've got a good used car retail ready inventory and I'm not getting leads, it's usually one of these things: either that I haven't elaborated and made customized advertising messages for those vehicles other than exploding the VIN. Maybe I don't have enough pictures or video, or I haven't been able to give unique descriptions, or there's a little checklist, almost like a dealer jacket in my mind of how to fix it. Can you share some things that you would look at TrueCar to be able to identify why they're not getting what they're getting and how to fix it?
Absolutely. So I think two things that we're looking at, you know, why aren't you getting the visibility and leads? And then we're also looking at, because we have sales data on most dealers, why aren't you actually closing? From a lead standpoint, I mean, the merchandising is huge, right? Like, we're looking at your photos, how complete the vehicle details are on your inventory. We're also, you know, pricing plays a part in it. You know, we understand market-based pricing. And so if you're at the top of that pricing list, we're going to at least guide you to say, Here's what the market average is. Here's how you're looking relative to other dealers. And so the merchandising of the vehicles, also the value props that you have as a dealership, I think that's probably one of the missing pieces that we see from most dealerships is when I look on your dealership website, when I ask a person in your dealership what stands out relative to other dealers, it's typically generic stuff like we have great customer service or we're the #1 dealer in the area, and not necessarily value props that resonate with consumers. And so one of the things we'll look at is like, what value props are you leading with? Particularly now in this COVID environment, you know, what are you doing differently that is going to make a customer trust you, feel safe, transparent, and validate their decision to buy a car from you versus the other dealerships down the street? So we're looking at that, but we're also looking at close rate. And you know, if you're not closing as well as other dealers on our platform, we're going to want to look at your process from a mystery shop standpoint. We're looking at from your CRM. Are you actually using the information that we're passing on to you from a consumer standpoint? For example, when we send a lead, we're giving you a whole profile of the consumer. They came from USAA, they're a sergeant in the military, they're deployed, they have a trade-in vehicle. And one of the mistakes that we typically see is a dealer is calling that lead blindly without actually using the information we armed them to use. And so through mystery shops, through watching a dealership's process, a lot of times we identify these holes where they're not taking advantage of the source the consumer came from. They're not leaning into the information we provided them. And so the consumer feels a disconnect once that dealership is on the phone or texting or emailing with them. So we'll dissect that in detail.
That's strong. Bob, sorry, thank you for being so patient. We just have a lot of people on this panel, but this is really important. So Bob Harwood of Interactive Financial, same question for Carrie. One is, what are you doing to help your dealers through this crisis? And what is your opinion about, like, you know, being a valued vendor partner? And to, you know, Cory's point, just a valued partner, period, or Josh Leader's point. Okay, so Bob,
Scott said that.
Scott's got that. I made that mistake. So Bob, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So yeah, I had the word partner written down and circled because that's been our focus the last 3 days. We're actively calling our entire dealer partner base to find out what their situation is. What we're finding, at least from our end, is we're talking to dealers in the same market, one of whom wants to stop leads completely, the other one wants every lead we can possibly generate. So we're treating everything on a case-by-case basis. We've put some support pieces in place that typically stuff we charge for, we're doing for free. So some of our dealers are using our BDC to make calls to help drive people in, or set up video calls. We're using our automated text service that allows consumers to set their own appointments. And now we're having to go back to our dealers and say, hey, you know, these people are setting appointments, but guess what? The chances are they're not going to actually come into the store because they're scared. So strategizing, how do we engage with some of these consumers without them coming into the store? You know, our product's a little different than some of the other folks here in that, you know, it is a finance application, which tends to obviously be subprime. So we have a lot more blue collar folks that typically aren't home during the day. So our lead and application volume is actually way up right now because a lot of our consumers are home and have time to do it. So what we're trying to manage now is slowing dealers down and saying, yeah, we know you want as many leads as you can get because you're not getting them from your sources you normally do. But because we do want to be good partners and look at everybody's best interests, we're having to slow some folks down. And, okay, you don't have the infrastructure yet to handle more, and we don't want that diminishing ROI as we hit a point of diminishing returns. You know, we talked to a dealer yesterday who in Charlotte, and honest to God, you know, he was scared. People are scared, and I think we're forgetting. It's easy to forget in the course of doing business that we're dealing with people, and dealerships are, for the most part, owned by people. And there's somebody at the top of that organizational chart that's scared right now. And, you know, I think on the vendor side, it's probably true. Everyone, you know, it's changing minute by minute. So our corporate philosophy right now is there is no policy. Everything's driven by common sense and by what our partners need.
Bob, that's really strong. Again, I love that. It is driven by what our partners need. Again, if we could help solve problems. Okay, so Karen, I want you to kind of moderate the panel. I want you, like, we have just an amazing bunch of people on here. What questions can you ask specific panelists right here? Cory?
I was taking some notes while Bob was talking. Hey, shout out to Richmond in the house, Bob.
Yeah, no, I was the best looking guy in Richmond until you showed up.
So a couple of things. I was taking some notes while he was talking, and I want to just get these points out while they're on my head. Number one, 800-pound gorilla is people, dealers and decision makers, because it's not always the dealer, it's the decision maker, have to actually want to take these actions. So I will not operate in a world where we just assume everybody is clamoring for this information and they're feverishly going to take action. Because prior to this pandemic, we've all worked with dealers. Sean and I, 20 years working with dealers, or 16 years working with dealers. We all have dealers who don't take action. When times were great, there were things that could be doing to make it better. Don't take action. There were dealers. I mean, Carrie's on here. I had a dealer, and Carrie will know from doing our workshop last year, we had a dealer that would not talk to TrueCar for 10 years, despite the fact, or had been trying to work with them for 6 years, I'm gonna be more accurate. TrueCar could not get in the store for 6 years because the owner came out of a meeting 6 years ago about TrueCar 1.0 and never looked at it again, even though their pump out of their market was 25 cars a month going to a competitor through TrueCar's program. So not being on was costing the dealer at least 20 to 25 deals a month, and they wouldn't even look at it. So there's still going to be these moments where we're sharing all this information and people are shaking their head, right? Because people are not taking action, whether they're paralyzed or whatever it is. Progressive people will continue to take progressive actions. JC, Josh, these are guys who are progressive before coronavirus. They'll be progressive after coronavirus. So progressive people will always be looking for progressive ways. Next is the incentive frenzy that everybody is going on now about the 0%. Maybe, obviously, Bob, maybe think about this point on the phone with a dealer before getting on here. Says, Cory, all this 0% stuff is great, but our average customer is not prime. It's a tier 1 approval for 0% for 84 months. So this frenzy is great, and let's pump our marketing in the no payments for 6 months. That's if you qualify. My average beacon's $585. So that person's not getting bought in that particular situation. And the last point I wanted to make, to get all my notes out for the moment, is leadership is a huge issue. And you find out right now, those people who haven't invited leadership skills into their market. As somebody who has operated in this space for 16 years and has gone through the pains, Sean, as you can attest to, the pains of trying to bring ideas to the market, maybe that were ahead, not because I'm so smart, but just because they were, right? From an internet standpoint, from a digital standpoint, or whatever. Beating this drum on how to manage a crisis. I'm one of the only people that's ever presented this material in ADA, where we presented a program on crisis management and social media crisis management and dealing with that. And the attitude of the dealer body over time of, well, we don't really need, that's not really a problem for us. We don't really need that. We don't really need this. Yeah, if you've read some of the communications that people are sending out right now, they desperately needed a better plan and needed a structure on how to communicate through this crisis environment. And since this is not 2008, this is not the financial crisis of 2008 and 2009 that we were all around for. This is a financial situation created by a pandemic, and nobody can we can't go to the logs on this. We can't go back and say, oh, how did we deal with the pandemic of 98? Right? We don't have that option to look at it. So I just wanted to make those points about leadership and about progressive people will be progressive through good times and bad times. And let's keep our heads on straight here.
And wait a minute, I need to step up my game. I need to step up my game. Cory's been on TV too much and shit. He got that media training. He sounds all official and shit. Automotive News, Virginia Fox News. Man, I got to step up my game. Shit, I got to shave or something, bro. I feel low.
And
Cory for president.
And Sean, you have to put a suit on. Sean, he's dressing better than all
he
of
is.
us, right?
Yeah, he's dressing for this. Like
yes.
I would have put my suit jacket on if I would have known.
No, this is like more like World Star, hip hop than it is CNN, brother.
This is not new. This is not new. Thank you. This is not new, though. So,
Cory, has your wife given you your change yet from the time she's got you food?
No.
Starbucks change.
I never get change.
No, can I jump in one?
Yes, Jason.
One thing. Cory, you hit the nail on the head when we're talking about the OEMs and the 0%. Everybody's doing it. Hyundai came out with some of the most progressive programs I've ever seen a manufacturer come out. But the one thing that every single one of them is lacking, and this is where it hits home to the dealer groups, to the guys in the front lines, to the salespeople in the showroom. Not one of them have done anything with leasing. Okay, you're right. You get a Beacon score of 580. Nobody is putting extra incentives and extra rebates together. Nobody is doing anything to lower those lease payments. In this country, if this pandemic spans the next, God forbid, 4 to 6 weeks, okay, how many leases are going to be due nationwide, and what are those people going to do with those existing vehicles that they're in? They cannot by law be charged the extra mileage. They're out of contract, so who's paying the payment? The manufacturer is going to want their car back, but nobody knows, and they're not addressing it. As dealers, those are the questions that we're scrambling to find out answers to, because if the dealers are closed, we don't have a resource for the customers. Now, you knock it down to where Shep was in talking last night. How does that deal and make yourself on the reputation aspect for your dealership show in a positive light? Because those people are going to be upset. They're going to slam you on Google reviews. They're going to slam you on Facebook reviews because your physical door was not open to take their business.
Wow, powerful. Karen, what do you want to add to that? Jason, that was strong as hell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is all new for everyone, right? Like Cory said, we've never faced something quite like this. So I wish there was an answer for that, and I can understand and maybe Scott can speak from a reputation management perspective. Yes. What do you do to the public? What do you say when your doors are closed and they can't return these vehicles? It puts them into a situation, and then it makes the dealer look bad as well. So it's kind of a lose-lose for everyone.
So Scott, what are your thoughts on what Jason just said? Mute. You're on mute.
Mm-hmm. Did we lose Scott?
No, he's just muted.
Sorry about that. I don't want you guys to hear me chewing my gum. Jason, you're on point, man. It's great to see you, by the way. Carrie, your hair looks fantastic.
Thank you.
To Karen's point, again, I'm going to quote Bob, because there's so many people that come out and say, I'm a vendor, not a partner. I'm a vendor. I've got the answer. There's no blanket statement. Bob's point, he's got 2 dealers in the exact same zip code or in the same county with 2 different needs. Karen, specifically on the rep side, that's not something that's going away, right? For the dealer that doesn't have a staff to work the leads, I get it. Pause the leads. If the vendor is trying to hold you to a 30-day out, you're not doing business with that vendor anymore. But as far as there are some things that you might want to double down on, reputation is one of them. Your Google listings, guys, think about it. Your Google listings, half the people that go to Google do not click on your website. It's called zero search results. They don't even click on their website. They get everything they need on your Google listings. So Jason's got revised hours. What's the first thing Jason needs to do? He needs to go on social. He needs to communicate that. He needs to add that to his Google listings. It's easy. If you need help, call us. We'll help you out. A lot of dealers in California, their service, Tustin Toyota, example, showroom shut down. Guess what? There's not one service department that I know of yet, so don't quote me, but I'm told this morning there was a one service or parts part of a dealership closed down in California. Repair shops in Orange County and in Palm Springs and in Los Angeles, repair shops, service, and parts are to remain open because it's a necessity. Do the consumers know that? No. What are they doing? They're Googling your business. Somebody who might need an oil change that has all the time in the world right now is not coming to your dealership because they assume that you're closed. So to Karen's point, it's time to step up and over-communicate, not to be doom and gloom to Cory's point. And, there's an opportunity. There's a lesson in everything. Sean, if you don't mind my sharing, you and I were talking about, I don't mean to get off track here, stocks yesterday, right? What 2 stocks were we talking about last night at midnight?
Chewy and Amazon.
Chewy and Amazon, all right? Amazon, I'm not going to go into it. Everybody knows what Amazon is. Chewy is something very similar. It's getting your dog food, your cat food, your gerbil food, whatever it is you have at home. whatever it is you have at home, you order your food online. They are thriving. Amazon is thriving. Yesterday was a down market. The market was down. The Dow ended up 1,300 points down. Both these stocks are up. Of course, they're up today. A high tide rises all boats. You don't have to be a genius to figure that out. But what's the lesson here? We're all going to look back 5-6 years ago. Wow, Chewy and Amazon. Wish I would have seen that coming, right? I'm not giving stock advice here, guys. I gave Sean stock advice last night. He should have listened. But the point is, hindsight's always going to be 20/20. There's a lesson in everything. And I like what, I forgot who said it, so volunteer to take credit for it. It was Jason. The cutting edge deal, no, it was Cory. The cutting edge dealers, the cutting edge people, the cutting edge leaders are cutting edge in good times and in bad times. And you've really got to look around right now and look for the opportunity. Again, I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. It's not necessarily going to catapult you ahead this week, this month. But when the dust settles, not if, when the dust settles, China's already recovering, right? China reported no cases yesterday. China's closing down all of their makeshift hospitals. We will soon be there. It might be 4 weeks, it might be 3 weeks, it might be 2 months. We don't know. But when the dust settles, you're going to come out ahead if you're putting your head down now and you're using this as an opportunity to make better decisions on your vendors, cancel those crappy providers that aren't penciling, where you were blinded just because of good times. And I'll end with a quote. Again, good times create bad habits, really bad habits. Challenging times create great habits. Don't lose the lesson.
John,
Man, Scott, that was fire.
Can I jump in?
Yep.
John, can I jump in on one thing that Scott mentioned? I think, when he says bad times create good habits. And I think when I think about what we've been talking about in the industry, digital retailing was the hot buzzword, right? Every vendor is throwing out digital retailing tools, modernizing your communication, using text and virtual communication. All of those things that we've been talking about are just coming to light with the COVID pandemic. It's like they've always been principles that have been very important, but all of a sudden, if you weren't in digital retailing, if you weren't doing things online, you're in a bad position now. And the dealers that were doing it are ahead of the curve because they're not having to change their business as much because they were willing to do things online even before the COVID environment. I'll tell you, one of the things that we've been harping on is just modernizing communication. We looked at 12,000 mystery shops about 3 months ago. We looked at 12,000 mystery shops of dealers and how they responded. And 95% of them picked the phone up to call a customer. And only half of them sent a text message to our customers in the mystery shop. And so you think about right now, when it comes to communication, I've been working from home. I have my 2 kids running around me while I'm working. I am as busy as I've ever been trying to work from home and manage my kids who are out of school until May 4th.
Amen.
If you try to call me, I'm not picking the phone up. It's just not happening. And so if you're a dealer that has resisted those things, you're not in a good position right now because virtual communication in terms of texting, and I'll go even further, FaceTiming me, web conferencing me. Are we using all of the modern ways?
No, we're not.
No. Why as a dealership, why wouldn't you web conference me?
Why is there a blind man, LA Williams, doing more video, email, video text messaging than freaking seeing people? LA, say something because I wanna jump in and then I want to turn to Josh. But LA, I know you've been trying to jump in.
It's just funny because when Carrie jumped in, I thought she was gonna mention Scott's comment about her hair, but
I'll take all the.
No, but I love exactly what Scott was saying because that's my take on this whole thing because world-class people do world-class things. Again, I said that in times like this, if you have choices, you can either attack or you can retreat. But we never retreat; we always attack because when you continue to do that, when you run fast in times like this, when everybody else is freezing, what happens is when the dust settles, you come out way ahead of the pack. So I love exactly what you were talking about, man. That's the thought process. I think we got to be thinking world class.
I've got one thing to add, LA and Carrie. Things aren't changing, guys. Things aren't changing. These consumers are going to be used to ordering their stuff on Chewy. They're going to, for the people that have never grocery shopped on Amazon, they're loving it. And they're not going back to the brick and mortar. And that's the exact same thing that's happened in our industry. People are going to get used to and they're going to embrace it. And they're going to love the new way they virtually communicate. Because guess what? Just because this thing passes in August, they still don't want to come and shake your hand. They still don't want, somebody sneezing on them. So I'm telling you, this isn't something temporary. This is a great learning opportunity for us to evolve. To Cory's point, for the people who haven't done digital retailing, guess what? It's not too late. 6 months from now, it will be too late. Now it's not too late. You can still jump into it now. Work with your partners.
I 1000% agreed. BombBomb was on here in the beginning, but I was just talking too much. Shane had to eject. I wanted to share with this. I love what some of these vendors are doing. Like when Trump last Wednesday, the other day, like a week ago, basically announced what Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, and what Target was doing, they also announced what Zoom is doing. Zoom.us is basically giving free video conferencing technology to the education industry. Well, BombBomb, is also doing the same thing. So if you go to bombbomb.com / I think it's education. So Cory, the reason why I'm saying this is that this company is phenomenal. What they're offering for free is the BombBomb video emailing, video text messaging, video communication platform to all teachers, professors, and educators. Because Cory, to your point, we just showed a video on this, me and Karen, but mostly my wife, Karen. After we've been working all day serving our clients, our employees, and dealers all across the country, she's been spending 3 to 4.5 hours a day or at night. She wasn't even done till 10, 12 last night, for a freaking first grader. Karen, explain that real quick, like what people are going through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to, at least our school has a very strict curriculum that you have to abide by in order to, it's 4 hours of curriculum. Because in order for it to count as a full day of school so that they don't have to spend their summer days, in a classroom, you have to instruct these 4 hours of curriculum. So for my 6-year-old, he can't really teach himself. So I have to be the teacher. So I'm the gym teacher, the Spanish teacher, the music teacher, the science teacher, the mathematics teacher. I'm, Mrs. Bradley or Senora Bradley, right? So yeah, it's very time consuming. I don't know if you saw the kids running behind me before. I'm like, go that way. But
Karen, the reason why I'm saying this is that again, BombBomb is giving free technology to teachers, what have you. If you're a dealership, you could turn around, whether you're using BombBomb or not, and give that announcement. You could give that PSA. Like with Cory, a lot of people have been saying, thank you, Dealer Synergy, thank you, Millionaire Car Salesman Group, for being like the TMZ of this and bringing this together. You know what I mean? I want to help. So I'm bringing you Cory Mosley. I'm bringing you TrueCar, Digital Airstrike. I'm bringing you Josh Leader, Jason Caliri, Interactive Plan. I'm bringing you all these resources. I'm bringing you the OEM programs. You could do the same thing. You should know what technology, both local or national, that you could turn around and let teachers know, that you could let professors know, that you could let first responders know. Because again, whether you're doing it yourself or you're bringing them those resources, it's going to be goodwill to your community. One. The second thing is that BombBomb is also a great resource. If you guys are not utilizing video email or video text messaging, especially now through a pandemic, you're absolutely out of your effing mind. You really need to get to it. And so I've been screaming about video. You ready for this, folks? For it's been literally 14, 15 years, since 2005, 2006. I wrote the first article about video search and video conferencing and NADA speakings. And to your point, guys, on the panel, it's only when there's a crisis, it's like, oh, digital retailing, oh, video emails, oh, video text messaging. Like, no shit, we've been saying this for 15 years. Use it now. Cory, you're so right, man. You know what I mean? You can only give people the information, but if they don't take it and implement it and utilize it, we're utterly screwed. Okay, now with that last thing said is I want to talk to Josh about this, folks. I don't know if you've seen this, but what we just did is Josh is also, he's going to talk about leaders in marketing, but what we're doing is this. Hold on, where's the graphic? Okay, so check this out right here. In response to this right here, we've created the Dealer Coronavirus Crisis Response Team. If you attend this webinar, okay, all you got to do is put in the comments or in the chat that you want a free CSI. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to do forensic audit. Leaders in marketing, my company and Cory Mosley's company, we're going to be doing a free assessment, whether it's on, for your website, whether it's online reputation, it is lead source providers, online classifieds, it's SEO, SEM, it's social media, it's a business ROI. What we want to be able to do is be able, at no charge, nothing else, just trying to help the industry. If you're not sure if your vendors or your tools are correctly set up, if they're correctly utilized, if you're getting what you need from your vendor partners, then And don't worry about it. Don't wonder about it. For free, just reach out to us in the comments here that you like this free audit, because like I said, we're calling it a CSI vendor partners analysis. Why? Because some of these vendors are murdering you and dropping those bodies right where they lay. So Josh, can you talk about that? What kind of stuff can they expect from this?
Oh, thanks again. First, before I get to the marketing side of things, that's my wife's business, and I am a partner in that. There's a couple of notes I put down, and this is for all the dealers that are listening. I got excited with a couple of things when, like Bob talked about the 0% and majority of the customers are 585s or whatever the case is. That's good, because at the end of the day, what we're noticing at our dealerships, I don't know about your dealerships, the subprime is a majority of the market. They're always going to be there. But when you spark the 0% and it's the top tiers that qualify, they're the people with the money that's affecting the stock market crash. That's the people we need to spark as well. So, and it's also, I think it's a lot to do with the salespeople involved, right? It's giving them something to talk about, right? It's just something is better than nothing. And Jason Caliri, man, thanks a lot. I just got a couple of more ideas. We can help customers when leases end. I mean, the dealership doesn't have to be open to help customers, right? We have to be open. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for God forbid this happen, right? But let's just say there's a dealers are shut down for a few weeks, right? Right, absolutely right. There are leases that are going to come up, but hey, you know what? If they're shut down, they can't take payments, they can't take cars, but what we can do is we can offer a service at that point when it's shut down. Hey, whatever miles you go, you come back and lease another car from us. We're going to take care of that for you. I mean, there's a great opportunity here. I'm already got some graphics going. I'm going to push that out right after this meeting, because that's what we signed up for as a dealer partner with our customers. That's what we're here for. We are a full service dealership. And man, thanks for bringing that up. It's all these ideas, right? When you talk about forward thinking, that is forward thinking, and that's what you got to do as a dealership to stay ahead of this game, okay? The coronavirus, we're going to get past this. We absolutely are, okay? But how are we going to react? I love the fact that all these dealers around me are starting to push video. They're starting to push digital retailing. Thank you, because you know what? We know how to do it. And it's just going to bring us more customers, because that's what we do and that's how we do business. So boom, that's the dealership side of it. All right, so as far as what Leaves of Marketing has going on right now, we like to vet vendors for dealerships, okay? I have this term predatory vending, right? I was at Internet Sales 20 Group in Houston, and that is something that is near and dear to my heart. I've been in dealerships for 23 years now, and my goodness, there is so much predatory vending going on out there. It is sick. And it makes me sick that these dealers are letting employees go left and right, but they're holding on to these vendors that are doing absolutely nothing for them, okay? And the best way to find out, I always tell people, just fire them. Well, this vendor that's not there doesn't mean you're going to stop selling cars, guys. It's ridiculous, okay? If you can't track and measure all the way down to what they do for you is selling cars, they're not selling cars for you, okay? This the hype, it's the pretty picture, it's the trinkets and trash, as I like to say. So what we do, we typically charge for this, but we're going to do this for free for anybody who has attended this webinar or somehow got this information through the webinar. Is we're going to do this for free. We're going to vet your vendors. We're going to go back 90 days, see what's happened with your dealership, with all your vendors, and give you a report back on who's creating deals, what kind of a deal per acquisition that you have, as well as show you where all your solds are coming from and show you where your vendors are sending you customers from. And maybe that may not align, and maybe you can scope down. Whatever the case is, we're here for you. And we're just excited to be a part of this industry and be able to help people and just keep this game going.
Now, Josh, you sell how many cars out of your internet department alone?
We average anywhere from about 200 to 225 a month. I have 2 Chevy stores. I also help out with the #1 Kia dealership here in the Valley as well.
So so this is pretty significant. Everybody on this panel is a boss, is a G, or is a freaking subject matter expert. So I appreciate it. Listen, we've been here for a long time. So I have one closing question to just change the mood and like this, which has been great. But this is just, I want to ask the panel this question. Me and Karen were talking about this. I've actually got this question from dealers, but then I'm going to give you an example of my own company that we're conflicted with. In the coronavirus, there's been, two types of thoughts. One is very serious, very there, and then there's also trying to put some levity, respect obviously, but also some levity to the situation. So what are your guys' thoughts? I want to start with my dealers, like Jason and Josh, and then I want to hear from all the vendors, just like 30 seconds or so. Is, do you think it's okay or appropriate if there's some promos and fun things, whether it's TikTok or it's social media, we're just trying to make some levity of the situation as long as it's respectful? Josh, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, humor is a part of a good living, but we cannot, lose the seriousness of this. There's generations, right? You've got the millennials, you got the Gen Xers, which is forgotten a generation, and then you got the boomers, right? Everybody has to do their part, and seriousness works for some people, humor works for others, but we all must respect the fact that this is a major downturn, and we can turn it positive. So in my respect, I think if it's tasteful and it's classful, absolutely it should be allowed.
All right. So Jason, what about you?
I couldn't agree with Sean, with Josh more. I mean, there's a time and place for everything. Obviously, for those that know me personally, I'm always throwing jokes. I'm always, throwing texts to Josh or Sean, and going back and forth. But obviously, when you're in the position that you're in, you're almost like a PR representative for your group, for all of your employees at all times. First of all, get the information out correct the first time.
Right.
Second, make sure that the information is complete. Okay.
Let me just tell you this, because we're all friends here right now and we're winding this down. See, me and Karen just did this video, and I'm going to stream it right now. I want your guys' opinion if I should make this public for Dealer Synergy or not. Okay. So it's humor, but I want you guys to just watch it and let me know. Do you think that it's a little bit too intense for right now, or is it just funny as shit and to go from there? Now, remember, this is.
Oh, here we go.
All right. Okay.
Are we doing an old time?
Any other disclaimer, Sean?
Hold on. Watch this.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy, the creator of Millionaire Car Salesman Group. And this coronavirus is crazy. Lockdown, curfews. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but this is how I'm feeling right here. Check this out.
Cardi B.
Yo, yeah. Put it down. Yeah, down the floor.
Hold on, wait for it. We got some guest people.
Might call ASPCA ASAP.
That poor dog.
Wait.
She's a baby. You're giving it chicken.
Can the dog even breathe?
Wait.
Oh, this is a do not. I'm dizzy. First off.
Although wifey got her involved.
Those cowboy boots come out, I'm done.
Karen, what gift did he give you to drag you into this video?
Coronavirus up in here.
Jewelry must have been involved.
Yes, absolutely. He bribed me.
So, obviously,
we can't get that 3 minutes of our lives back.
No doubt.
I agree with
Dying
you.
over there.
What'd you say?
Marilyn said she's dying over there.
Oh my God, yes.
Hi, Marilyn.
Marilyn. So my question is, again, you know what I mean? Like, we love the dealerships like that, but we're stuck in this house going cabin fever crazy. You know, again, I don't know if you've been watching like the different celebrities and the different people that are just making these funny videos and stuff like that. Question for you, can you balance like humor with professionalism and it be received the right way? What is your thoughts?
I think the answer is
I'll
yes.
go first. Or Jason will go first.
No, go ahead, Scott, please.
Sean, it's too early. It's too early.
See,
Listen,
there you go.
Watch a hidden scene from Borat. There's a guy on YouTube. He farts in elevators. I forgot his name. He's hilarious. Leave coronavirus alone. It's too early.
Okay.
I agree with Scott.
See?
Although, you know, I'm coming from the public company, a lot of clients, public investors. I would say no to the video.
Forward-looking statements.
100% no to the video. I think it is too early, and I think humor is a fine, fine line, and you could cross it and offend a lot of people. So I say no.
Okay.
I agree with Carrie, which is why Sean would have posted it already if I wasn't in the same boat as you, Carrie.
No, but this is, guys, this is good because if you even look in our group, in the Millionaire Car Salesman group, there's a bunch of humorous videos that are being posted too. So again, I really did ask you guys that for a question. It wasn't just for me. Like I have my wife is my moral compass, you know, make sure my compass is like operating true north. But I really wanted to get you guys to say the same thing because it's not just that one example. I literally have people DMing me and show me all these videos, and I want us to be able to give the proper feedback to them. Corey?
Well, first off, I think I might have sent that video to you. I may have sent that Cardi B video to you.
The original one.
Yeah, so I might have sent that to you.
Oh, it's all your fault, Corey.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, I think first off, to answer your question, should you post that video? No, nobody. No, not because it's insensitive or anything, but just because it just shouldn't do it. But but to your larger question, listen. Depending on your faith, right? You have a funeral and then you have a repast, right? Funerals are somber. Repasts are supposed to be celebrations. I think that based on celebrations of life, right? So I think if this is hitting home, if you have coronavirus right now, or you have a loved one that is on a respirator in a hospital and struggling with it, your perspective obviously is completely different.
That's exactly what I said to Sean.
Humor, right? Humor to the end of time will be interpreted by the beholder of it. So yes, my friends and people are passing back and forth. I don't think I've sent Carrie coronavirus stuff, but I sent Carrie. Oh, okay, I did. Okay, so yeah, so we're communicating. And listen, if just like anything, if somebody's offended by something, then that is their thing. I think you can have levity and you can have humor without being insensitive. And I think that sensitivity level, though, is so variable in our society right now that there is no correct answer because every answer will always be a personal answer. I don't find it funny. I find it funny. This person doesn't for this reason. So you'll always have that. Release good funny stuff, not bad funny stuff, and not the AS. And I'm calling the ASPCA about the.
I think just to add to Corey what he's saying, I think the audience matters too. I think when you're one-on-one, Corey, I think and me have sent little jokes to each other one-on-one, or you're in a smaller closed group. That's different than when it's public. It's different when it's your friends who know you and they're close to you versus people who don't know you. I always say, I have friends that have the pass, the pass, but that pass is not non-transferable. You can't transfer that to somebody else, right? So I think your audience definitely matters. I couldn't agree more with Corey on that front.
Yeah, I think Carrie's right. One-to-one humor is great. Mass media humor is dangerous.
Yes.
So again, guys, I want to be clear. I did not post that. That is actually on private, and that's not going to be posted. That's only in a private Millionaire Car Salesman group with my colleagues. I do want to share with you, this is what Tiana just did as an automotive salesperson.
Wait, why you ain't ask my opinion, Sean? Dang.
What were you going to say?
LA, because you didn't see those moves.
Okay, wait a minute. So guys, wait a minute. So for the record here, again, my daughter represents us. And so again, this is the route that she took. Instead of doing it funny, this is what she's got. So I want you to critique this video.
Hey guys, it's T from tgotyourkeys.com. Just wanted to address the serious situation that's going on with the whole coronavirus. Petrie here at GMC here are taking extra precautions. We're actually doing a white glove service delivery.
I don't know.
guys. So if you're afraid of coming into the dealership, being around a lot of people, no worries at all. We are actually going to do everything online, whether that be picking out your vehicle, credit application, finances, and even delivering you the vehicle. Free of charge, of course. We just want to make sure that everybody is safe, everybody's taking the precautions that they should. And obviously that your health is definitely number one to us. And also, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but GM Financial is actually doing 0% interest for 84 months and deferring your payment after 120 days when you sign the papers. So you won't have a car payment for 100.
So I'm not going to watch the whole thing. My point is that I want you all to know here as we're closing, because we had an incredible panel today, incredible value. I didn't want you to think, is Sean getting, cabin fever? No. So this is that's a really weird post right there. But again, that's what we would normally recommend. I just wanted to get our, elite panelists just, opinion asked and answered. It's great. Okay, each one of you guys, if you want to just close out, leave some lasting thoughts. Let's start from Cory and go down the line. So Cory, closing thoughts.
Oh God, don't put the pressure on me. I like to close, not start. But at any rate, listen, we've used words like need today. I think the greater than need is belief system. What your belief system about this whole situation will dictate what your actions are. If you are on the front lines where there's certain things you need to be doing yourself, but you're also looking for leadership. If you are a decision maker and you're a leader, you have to be cognizant of the fact that people are looking to you. I understand you may not have the exact answers, and this may be new territory for everybody, but keeping a level head, staying focused. And again, it may be hard to become progressive if you're not, but depending on where you are in your business, your belief system will drive every action you take, how you communicate with customers, how innovative you choose to be or not be. I mean, Josh taking ideas, going to put ideas to action. We've heard from Jason and guys that, again, have a progressive mindset already. The vendors on here are all committed to helping dealers, and that's all driven. Everything that's happened, everything that Scott talked about with digital airstrike, everything that's happened is driven by an individual's belief system on the actions they're going to take. So that is the place to look before we get to strategy. A successful strategy and the implementation of a successful strategy starts with your belief system.
Hey, one thing I want to say, LA is next, but guys, you guys got brownie points because all of my esteemed colleagues on the panel, when they watched that video, they kept it together. They didn't bust out laughing. Some of you were trying not to laugh, but you guys made your composure. So LA, what would you like to say in closing, brother?
Well, I really like what Cory said, but I mean, the bottom line is, in any kind of tumultuous time, people are looking for leaders. People are looking for leaders all the time, but especially now. And so you just got to make a decision on whether you're going to be the leader or the follower. I know for me, it's not a decision, right? It's the illusion of choice. I don't have a choice but to be a leader. There are people who are looking to me for answers. And so I got to give them. No matter whether I'm right or wrong, I have to live with those decisions. And so I'm constantly making decisions and giving advice because it's actually what I believe deep down inside. And I think if we prepare ourselves, right? I know we talk about the hindsight being 2020, but if we prepare ourselves and learn how to make decisions, listen, leaders don't always make the right decision. They just make their decisions right, meaning they know how to make decisions. And so whenever I'm on the phones or whenever I'm, discussing things with a client or, a prospect, I'm always thinking about, okay, how do I make this decision? What am I basing it on? And I think that if we as leaders, right, whether you're a dealer, whether we're a vendor, if we're making decisions based on that, like I love what Bob said. He said about how, everything needs to be on a case-by-case basis because, it's the most authentic thing. I've said time and time again, in 2020, this decade, authenticity is what's going to help you to be successful in this decade. That's just what we got to be. So for me, it's all about being a leader. And so, listen, we need leaders right now. We got to be world leaders.
Thank you. Jason?
Yeah, to expand on what Cory and LA said, you got to be a leader. You have to have the plan. Okay, obviously it's a serious case what's going on, nationwide. Unfortunately, me being in New York, I'm stuck right in, the highest points, obviously close to you, Sean. It's starting to trickle and spread very fast in other parts of the country, but New York, it's like there's updates every 20 minutes. Utilize your feeds to your advantage. Inform your customers, be honest with your customers, tell them the steps that you're taking, to ensure their protection and your employees, protection. Utilize, like Scott picked up, your Google My Business listing. Okay, don't forget about that. Don't forget about all your social feeds. Don't just rely on Facebook. Use your Twitter, use your Instagram. If you're going to use TikTok, put something nice together with your entire sales team. Throw it out on TikTok and share it everywhere. Okay. The key is inform, but inform correctly. So.
Thank you. Okay, Josh, leader.
Great talk about leaderships and leaders. And at the end of the day, dealers, you just got to do something. You got to do something. You can't just sit there and say, oh my gosh, it's horrible times, this and that. You know what? There's consumers out there waiting for you to reach out to help them and let them know, hey, it's okay. It's okay. We're clean. We're safe. We're doing everything we can due to the CDC regulations and precautionary measures. Just get the word out there. And just like to say thank you to my partners, Dealer Synergy partners, Digital Airstrike partners, TrueCar, Bob, we're working with you. And to the vendors out there, those that are on this panel, expert panels too, Cory, and those that are watching, you know what? Do something for your dealership outside of what they're paying you for. I know you've got extra programs that are doing, they're just sitting there. Go out there and let your dealers use them. Put it out there like Digital Airstrike's doing, and help, because the relationships you build today, right now, you're the ones that's going to last, and that's the ones that's going to push forward and help you get other clients as well. So, hey, man, it's been a pleasure. Love this panel. Love everybody on here, and thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you, Karen Bradley.
Amen, brother.
Karen?
Yeah, so, we're in a time basically of fight or flight, right? So it's time to fight. Stop focusing on all the things that you can't control. Definitely try to work within your influence and use this time to come out better and stronger than you went into it. And also think about working out of a different paradigm. I know right now we feel in sales as salespeople that nobody wants to buy a car right now, but I actually spoke to a client the other day that said there's people that were not in the market but are actually in the market right now because they want to give back to the economy and be able to give back in some type of way. So they are buying a car right now. So there are buyers out there. You just have to think of them differently.
Let's go, Kay. That's right.
Bob Harwood. Bob, in closing, what would you like to leave with?
I want to commend everyone, dealers and vendors that took the time to be on this panel. I think everybody here is trying to run a business or help run a business, and probably the first thought was, man, I don't have 2 hours to give to this. So the fact that everybody took the time to do it and try and be part of the solution kind of let you know who's on this call. I think as we talk about partners, if you're talking to your vendors and they bring up contract, policy, anything like that, move on somebody else, right? Everyone right now should be talking about how can we work together. And real quickly, because I heard a lot of people, a couple guys threw out some special Sean V. Bradley discounts. And Sean, I haven't talked to Travis about this yet, so I'm gonna need your help to apologize to him. Right. But if anybody wants to get some finance leads, the good thing about our leads is they're not want buyers, they're need buyers. Doesn't matter what's going on. If they need a car, they need a car. We'll do the rest of this month for free that anybody signs up.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's strong as hell. So repeat that.
The rest of this month will be absolutely free for anybody who wants to sign up and buy some leads from us.
Wow. Strong. Thank you so much.
I'm going to tell Travis it was your idea and you threw it out and I didn't know anything about it.
But that's why we got videotaped.
It's believable. It's believable.
Yeah, thank you, Cory. So, Carrie, Scott, I'm going to let you close everything out. So, Carrie, on you, what do you want to leave us with?
Well, first of all, I just want to highlight Josh. Thank you for acknowledging the vendors. And I want to acknowledge the dealers. I think, dealers are the heartbeat, the backbone of their communities, their small businesses, their larger businesses, their family businesses. And so without you guys, us vendors wouldn't even be around, and you're instrumental to your communities. So we need you to thrive during this pandemic. I've always thought that as dealers, as an industry, we have to sell cars online as well as we do in the showroom. We have to be as good to people who are digital customers as people who are walking in. And that has never, ever been more true than what we're facing today. And so if you're set up as a dealer and you were set up digitally to do that already, congratulations, because now you're going to shine even more. And you should be emphasizing that, and you should be sharing with the world that you can still service customers the same way, even from their homes. And if you're not, now's the time to try something new. You know, in the tech world, we believe in A/B testing. We're always testing things on our site. We're always testing new things. And now's the time to put your toe in as a dealer and test something. There's no risk, because the world has just changed and we're all trying to figure this out. I also just want to end with the fact that as an industry, we're very transactional. We're very focused on closing more sales and the transaction, but let's not forget the emotion right now. People are scared. People are emotional. They're fearful. They may have lost their jobs. And so let's not just try to sell cars. Let's just make sure that we're taking care of customers from a pure emotional standpoint and empathetic standpoint before we try to close them. So I think there's an opportunity here. And as an industry, we've been through things before and we'll make it through it again.
Wise. Carrie Wise.
Yes.
Dropping the mic.
Scott, close us
Hey,
out.
I just want to let you know, digital airstrike's given back to. We started the phone call by saying anybody that's a digital airstrike client, we would waive the setup and we would waive the monthly. I'd like to extend that to this entire channel, Sean. You said you've got 16,000 followers?
Yes.
Okay, so that's an offer for 16,000 people. Disclaimer, you're not in the Millionaire's Car Salesman group and somebody's texting this to you, doesn't apply to you. But for the 16,000 members, what we'll do is we'll waive the monthly. We'll waive the first 30 days. If it's something that you want to continue, and again, what we're talking about is the new way to interact with consumers, not only during this epidemic, but long, long after this epidemic, which is what we've been talking about for the past hour, video retailing. Literally virtually engaging with your consumers. So we've got a product that will allow the dealers to do exactly what your daughter did earlier, engage with video and get a heck of a lot more open rates and a hell of a lot more engagement. Is there the form? I don't know, where is that form that they would, what would they need to do, Sean, in order to?
So here's what I did is I posted it in here, but what Dave gave me is this right here. So it is, I got to kind of find it. So David sent it to me. I don't know what I did with it, but I posted it in the group.
Can you post that in the group after the webinar?
Yeah, I think we already did post it in here. So it's under the, okay. I definitely put it in the live stream. So hold on. So let me find, so this is the live stream right here. Yeah, this is it right here. So this is the digital airstrike. Let me click the link. So guys, this is already in here. It's in this actual webinar. It's live stream right now. Digital Airstrike created a landing page. And what they're doing is, Scott, if I'm understanding you correctly, it was originally supposed to be just for digital airstrike clients. You're just saying because you kind of moved by the Holy Ghost on this panel, and from what Bob Harwood, you ain't gonna be outdone by no Interactive Financial. You know what I mean? So what you said is that you're gonna now give this video virtual retailing program to everybody, which you didn't do. This is the only time that you're offering it to non-digital airstrike clients is because of this group. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's strong as hell. Thank you.
So the first month is on us. It is a month-to-month thereafter, but there's no obligation, guys. We're not here to capitalize. We're not here to. We're here to help you. So if it works, which it will, the biggest problem I'm going to tell you right now with any program is usage. But we've got a lot of tips and tricks. We've got a lot of best practices to ensure that you use it. And if you guys want to communicate the old-fashioned way, just call me on my cell phone. I'll be working at midnight tonight. 949-278-8618. Once again, 949-278-8618. If somebody doesn't want to communicate via form, like Burger King, have it your way, just call me. 949-278-8618. And Sean, I'll end with a quote. First of all, Josh, Karen, Bob, Jason, Cory, Carrie, I miss you guys. LA, you're not in the video anymore. I really miss you guys. I love the opportunity to see you guys. Carrie, we don't live far from one another, but obviously we're not going to be seeing one another. And I'll end with a quote. I think it was Martin Luther King that said it. You see the true identity of somebody when they're down, not when they're up. Look around you. See how people are acting right now. That's their true personalities. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
I'm gonna
look in the mirror as well.
Amen, Scott.
Absolutely.
Amen. And thank
Drop
you.
that number in the chat if you can.
Well,
That'd be helpful.
Yeah.
Wakanda forever, Scott, right here. There's social distancing right there. Right there.
So, but guys, I mean, like, we just did an hour and a half. So we've got senior VPs of major companies. Just Carrie's company and Scott's company alone has, you know, over 15,000 rooftops on there. And so again, and then Josh and Jason, and then again, is everybody on here is busy selling cars, managing, you know, clients and weathering the storm, but they all took their time for free to not only just give you free shit and resources, but to give you their time. There's nothing more sacred than someone's time. You can tell what's important in somebody's life by what they spend their time doing and where they spend their money. And so we're putting our money where our mouth is, all of us on here, from Dealer Synergy to Millionaire Car Salesman, everybody on here, because you, the community, you, the industry, are important to us. So again, it's been a sincere honor, and thank you all for being part of this. Thank you so much. I'll let you guys go. Thank you.
Love y'all.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Sean, for pulling
You're
this
welcome,
together.
man.
Thank you, everybody.
Anytime.
Bye, everyone.